a song called The Yellow Bittern, and it's based on a poem in which a man finds a yellow bittern that's close to the end of its life, and he likens the bird's demise to his own love of drinking and why he should continue to drink. As well have drunk, for his bones lay thrown on a naked stone where he lived all alone like the hermit monk. Oh, yellow bittern, I pity your lot, though they say that a sort like myself is cursed. Sober while, but I'll drink and be wise, for I fear I will die in the end of thirst. It's not for the common bird that I mourn, the blackbird, the corncrake, or the crane, but the shy shy and apart, and drinks from the marsh in the lone bog drain. If I'd have known you were near your death, while my breath held out, I'd have run to you, till a shot from the lake of the king of the birds, your soul would have stirred and waked anew. My darling told me to drink no more, or my life would be all in a little while. But it's the taste of the whiskey gives me health and joy, and will lengthen my road by many's the mile. You could see how the bird with the long smooth neck could get his death from the thirst at last. So come, son of my soul, and drink your fill, for you'll get no more sup when this life is past. Thank you.
Jackie Oates, everyone. Thank you, Jackie. Okay, that's the first half over. Coming up in the second half, we have Simon Emerson, we have Mark Constantine, Harriet Mead, Bruce Pearson, Phil Daniels, Marcus Coates, and all this lot as well. So go get a drink, you probably deserve it, and we'll see you in about 15 minutes or so. Thank you. My first guest for this second half, I suppose, what do we call him? A patron of the modern age, but almost like a Victorian patron. Also the Lush Supremo, has the record label ECC Records. He's a wonderful and entertaining man. He's a birder. Please welcome to the stage Mark Constantine. Come on over.
A bit of a frightening introduction, isn't it, really?
Hey, you know how it is. And I believe your order was red, wasn't it?
I'll
sir?
probably spill the wine on the sofa now.
Somebody's got to.
Yeah, what? The earphones come off, that's it.
They always do. And my second guest is a man, you saw him briefly at the end playing lap harmonium with Jackie Oates, Mr. Simon Emerson, musician with Afro Cult Sound System, the Imagine Village, producer, birder, twitcher, honest man. There's your red, you know where it is.
I've been eyeing that all evening.
So, I mean, where do we start? We're going to talk about various aspects of this whole sort of conservation and music and birdsong in music. But I'd like to talk, first of all, I mean, you've been coming, Mark, to Birdfair for how long?
Well, I think it might be 24 years. It's certainly 23. I first came because the really good birders were coming, and I wanted to learn from them. And they were on the Sunbird stand, or they were actually on the Dutch birding stand. The Dutch birding were the first foreign sort of group ever to come to Birdfair. They came on the second year. And we used to sort of hang out at the very back. They only had a tiny little area, and we used to hang out at the very back. We had a few seats and discuss bird identification. Very little thought to conservation, apart from the fact we paid our money to come in. And so that was the sort of very beginning for me. I wanted to come because I wanted to talk to the really good birders, and a lot of the good birders were coming here, and they were discussing identification at the back of the Dutch birding tent, or little tiny thing.
So you've been well used to the nooks and crannies of Birdfair.
Yes, but a sort of funny angle, a different angle from normal, because we've been, it's sort of a little bit, maybe someone would call it elitist. Things that, you'd have had around Shira High discussing sort of all sorts of fine identification criteria, or, all sorts of different things. Lots of books discussed. I mean, during the course of the time I've been coming here, we've launched 4 books here, each one very successfully, and we gear a lot of our stuff around the Birdfair. So next year we're going to launch a book on owls here. So we work towards the Birdfair. What should we do? Well, we'll do that at the Birdfair, we'll do this at the Birdfair, and then we sort of go after the Birdfair. It's a bit like football fixtures, It sort of heads to the Birdfair, and then life continues on after the Birdfair.
But, I mean, this is sort of a very interesting sort of angle that you come from, because you're a very keen birder, and you understand certain issues that face birds in the world today, and with the way that things work for you business-wise and what have you, you've supported a lot of different projects and been a patron, and I think you said to me yesterday you'd love to be thought of as a Victorian patron.
Well, I never knew that job was available. If I'd have known, I would have put my hand up for it. So, for example, a few years ago, those that came to the talk with Arnaud and Magnus Rob, Arnaud Vandenberg, we talked of a new owl that had been discovered. It wasn't really that new. There'd been 3 or 4 sightings of this owl in Turkey over the course of 150 years, and Arnaud had gone out and he'd rediscovered it, and we announced that at the Birdfair at a do. It was it was good fun, wasn't it? You enjoyed that, didn't you?
Yeah, very emotional.
But the interesting thing for me, the evolution of it, is during the course of the Birdfair, of course, I've become more successful. So at first, I was struggling around, and then along with my business partners, we've done very well with Lush. And of course, as that's happened, so a lot of the conservation groups here have sort of targeted me, turned me upside down, given me a good shake. When they haven't found enough coming out of my pockets, they've then taken me to one side and given me a good lecture. And slowly over the years, they've sort of got me sorted out. So it's been a delight, and that sort of changed a lot of the way I've thought, because they've educated me.
But do you think also that being an independent and you're not affiliated necessarily with any group or movement or whatever, that you can actually perhaps go for different projects that other people would perhaps choose? And is that what really appeals to you, to be an alternative?
Well, we're quite known, for example, for supporting hunt saboteurs or for supporting sea shepherd, groups that may be not to everyone's taste, especially if you're a hunter. So those sort of things are available to us. We in Lush, we did a big window campaign. It was actually the hunts are still at it, and we were just pointing out that the hunters were still hunting. Hunters came in the shops, cleared the shelves, smeared things on the windows. Quite brutish, actually. quite shockingly so. And that, we couldn't have done that if we were owned by L'Oreal, no, we couldn't. So those sort of campaigns we can do. We've been busy on the fracking over the last couple of weeks. In fact, we were laughing that Tamsin, the campaigns director, was arrested while she was there. It isn't allowed to go back on. So we will actively get ourselves involved in things that we believe are important for conservation. Yeah.
Do you think it's important that we have alternative voices for conservation as well? That are taking on things in a very direct and very open way.
Yeah.
And being...
I think the key for us is constantly providing information. So we take fracking. I don't know how many people in here are interested about fracking or have read about it. But the thing is, if you don't know anything about it until it comes to your back garden or you start realising the sort of influence it's having on wildlife or something else, then you need the information. And I think the bulk of what we do, especially in Lush, is to try to get the information out there, to try and inform people about it. And then and we can see what we think is the common sense, and then everyone else will reach their conclusions. And I think that's so. Personally, I'm not really keen on extremism, only basically if it gets the message out there. So most of the people that I work with know how to get that message on the television, know how to get that message in the newspapers, and then once that's done, then it's everyone else. It's up to all of you. You make your decisions, and you then make your feelings felt. So you take fracking. If you live in a rectory and the government has told you it's going to make your rectory walls shake, then we try to let you know that they've said that.
That's a good thing. But the other thing I know is a subject dear to your heart as well. It's hunting, and
it's not dear to my heart.
I know, but you know what I mean. The subject of hunters, and I've spent time now travelling in the Mediterranean, been to Malta. We've been shot at, you've been attacked, you've been called a Nazi, which is kind of strange when your name's Levy and you say, you can't actually technically do that, but there you go, you have to put up with these things. But it's muscle tough voice, really? Come on. But, so...
From my point of view, I don't see any affiliation between hunting and conservation at all. So I don't see any reason why we should preserve a piece of land in order to kill what's on it. I think that there's... I'm not particularly against hunters or people who wish to shoot things. I just think it's something of the past, and I think it should be over. But I think it's something we should look at uniformly over everything. I don't think there's any difference between how many, well, I would say there are differences in numbers, but we don't know exactly how many differences in how many woodcock we kill in Scotland when they come from Russia, or how many duck we're killing in Ireland, or how many birds we're killing in Cyprus, or how many birds we're killing in Malta. I do think that we should all be looking at all of that. Every bird that gets shot somewhere or killed somewhere is invariably someone else's bird, and I think that should be more uniform. So I'm never very keen to run campaigns. I mean, I'm very keen to help and support things in Malta or Gibraltar, anywhere that there's a problem. But I think that it's more important when you get to general information that we're each country, each place is looking at their area, looking at what they can do to conserve. We recently produced a book on my local area, and I was always asked about little egrets. Little egrets coming back, had they come back through global warming? And for a little while I sort of said yes, because I don't know. And then after a while, Anne and I discussed it, and we realised that actually little egrets and all white herons had been eliminated from all of Europe. And what we were seeing was an extremely slow return. We've just had marsh harriers breed for the first time in Poole Harbour this year. We've waited 50 years for their return. We have ospreys that summer in Poole Harbour, but they don't breed. And we've managed to link that exactly with the Scottish birds. So we know the Scottish birds come in summer, and for the exact period that they were eliminated from Scotland, so they didn't turn up in Poole. And it seems that it takes about 50 years for birds to recover from persecution. And there are still lots of species being persecuted because they're game or because of this, that and the other. So I like a reasoned debate. I don't want too much extremism, but I do think that it's a civilised aspect to slowly eliminate all hunting.
I mean, this is also something that I'd be interested to know how many projects you get approached with, in a year, or is it constant? Maybe hence your name, constant projects. I mean,
well, we do lots of different projects, but we have various different people. So if any of you there are thinking, well, you'd like to get funding for a particular project, then in fact, if you're here for another day, then come and see Paul Morton on our stand on the Sound Approach. We certainly get an awful lot of inquiries. We were delighted to support BirdLife International. We heard some lovely stories today from them on some of the stuff we've supported. The BTO, doing great conservation work. It's the BTO director that normally turns me upside down and gives me a shake. He came round today, did exactly that. Gave me a good old sorting out about cuckoos. Will we be supporting more cuckoo tags? And yes, we will. Because otherwise he's going to beat me up behind the tent.
He's a tough man, that.
So I suppose, and I mean, people will think this is a risky thing to say, but we do not, invariably, of the money we have allocated to give to different projects, we do not give all of it away. Therefore, there is more to give away.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get those projects in. Come and see them. Simon, why you're together is it also you work together. You've got the record label, and musically you work together.
You have to tell people the title of the music label. The whole
ECC Records.
Yeah, but you know what it represents? What this section?
It was originally called Emerson, Corncrake and Constantine. Try putting that on a letter heading.
Where the hell is Corncrake?
And the first thing Mark gave to me was the logo, which his son's done, and it was a lovely picture of Mark with binoculars, and there was a picture of me, and I had a corncrake on my head. And I've got to say, yeah,
he's still not let us use it.
Well, you never know. Maybe make a good T-shirt out of it or something. You never know, but.